Hi everyone, welcome to the Highlights from Ukraine podcast, your daily audio summary of the latest news reported in the Ukrainian media. My name is Artem and here is the news. 995 days less the Russian invasion of Ukraine. In his evening video address, President of Ukraine Volodymyr Zelenskyy informed that Kyiv is working on an internal resilience plan. There are 10 points in total which will be presented next week. The president stressed that for each point, together with Ukrainian civil society, together with everyone ready to contribute rational ideas, together with business, a foundational doctrinal document for Ukraine for its resilience will be prepared. For example, yesterday the head of state had a meeting on the topic of culture. Quote, culture in general is a tool that works universally for humanity across different parts of the world. We must devote much more state attention to this and we will, unquote, pointed out Zelenskyy. At the meeting, participants also addressed a security point, security across Ukraine in every region, in every community. The president said that the Ministry of Internal Affairs and the Security Service of Ukraine have developed some good points. Earlier, his team worked on the issues of energy and armaments. The upcoming resilience plan follows Zelenskyy's peace and victory plans aimed more at external audiences. Before the end of President Joe Biden's term, the United States plans to transfer $7.1 billion worth of military aid to Ukraine from the Pentagon's reserves, reports Suspilne. Pentagon Deputy Spokeswoman Sabrina Singh emphasized that the administration is actively working to fulfill this promise and is developing large packages that will be delivered to Ukraine almost every week. She also added that the Pentagon continues to replenish its reserves in order not to reduce the level of US combat readiness, and at the same time ensures that Ukraine receives the necessary resources to successfully fight on the battlefield. It was reported that before the end of his term, Biden would talk about the need to support Ukraine against the backdrop of Donald Trump's election victory. The Biden administration, which is in place until the inauguration of the new president, intends to send a request to Congress for new aid to Ukraine for the 2025 fiscal year, reports Ukrinform. The media previously reported that the US plans to send interceptor missiles to Ukraine for the Patriot and NASAMS air defense systems, which should be sufficient by the end of the year. We would really appreciate if you could rate us, ideally with 5 stars, and leave a glowing review in the app where you're listening to this podcast, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, and others. This really helps more people to find out about the highlights from Ukraine and truth about Russia's invasion. Bloomberg informs that Donald Trump's victory is prompting South Korea to reconsider the possibility of sending weapons directly to Ukraine. However, no decision has been made yet. Reports Ukrainska Pravda. An anonymous official reported that South Korean president's administration is compelled to consider Donald Trump's stance when deciding whether its policy against providing lethal aid to Kyiv. Another government official added that Seoul is also evaluating how Trump's approach to the war might impact the level of support Ukraine receives from other nations. The president's office stated that the government will examine possible scenarios of military cooperation between Russia and North Korea, following Pyongyang's recent deployment of troops, and will take appropriate countermeasures. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy is preparing to send an envoy to Seoul to request weapons and persuade South Korea to reconsider its stance in favor of Ukraine. South Korea possesses substantial reserves of 155mm artillery shells, which in particular Ukraine is currently using. Officials in Seoul noted that they may consider direct arms supplies if North Korea acquires technology that strengthens its capability to produce weapons of mass destruction. Russian President Vladimir Putin has indicated he may supply Kim Jong-un with precision weaponry in response to Western military aid for Ukraine. Thank you for listening to the Highlights from Ukraine podcast, a non-commercial initiative of just two people, and we need your help to grow. Share information about the podcast, rate us in the app, subscribe to our Patreon. With your support, we are getting better. We call on you to demand from governments of your countries to impose the toughest sanctions possible on Russia and its citizens to stop their invasion of Ukraine.